Right, so off the back of the latest YCS, the European Remote Duel YCS, we have compiled a list of what we find to be, in our opinion, the top 5-ish best cards in the metagame at the minute, and we're going to use the stats from the YCS to back this up. Similar to our event breakdown, if you watch that, there'll be an annotation for it, check it out if you haven't. So I think it just makes sense to start off with the most represented decks, which Liam, you're going to take us through.
So top 32 percentage wise, the most people played Sword Soul at 28%, and then it was Lyrilusk at 22%.
22%. So 50% of players played Sword Soul or Lyrilusk. Yeah, I don't think that's too surprising, really, is it?
Striker 12.5%, Droidtron 12.5%. Yes, the boys representing. Invoke Dogma again 12.5%. Pranks 3%. B Trooper obviously Herman Hansen.
Amazing.
Shout
Absolutely
out to,
amazing.
Shout
really
out
good
to
player, man.
Handsome Herman.
And then Pure Tri Brigade 6%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the only sort of exclusion really is PK. Yeah.
PK, yeah.
No Phantom Knights.
Yeah, no Phantom Knights, which in testing we think he's good, yeah.
Yeah, like up until George said there was 0 in the top, I had Phantom Knights as one of the 4 best decks.
Yeah, because we were saying instead of Droidtron, and I said whichever one has more. Yeah.
I do think it's too inconsistent.
I do think as well that if you actually directly compare Phantom Knights to Droidtron, the best board Phantom Knights does is it solves you with DPE. And Droidtron does that with less effort. But yeah, so we just want to talk about a few of the cards because these are cards that we already thought were good from our own testing anyway.
And then we just wanted to go through all of the actual stats to see where we were at with it.
So the first one is Cosmic Cyclone. This is something at the minute which both me and George actually main. But we both play this card in Sword Soul. So the reason why I decided to start playing this card is especially in the regional sort of formats that we're playing now. So there's a lot of trap decks in the UK, especially like in regional tournaments. So it makes sense to have some sort of back row clearance in your deck for that.
A lot of mine as well.
But then if you actually take the sort of top 4 best decks in what my opinion it was Phantom Knight, Lyrilusk, Sword Soul, and Dogma Invoked. Cosmic Cyclone is good against all 3 of those. 3 of the 4 of those decks. Obviously, it's not very good against Lyrilusk, but it's really good against Invoke because you can blow away Schisms, you can blow away Tikaboos. Against Sword Soul, it just trades really nicely with Blackout or like a Setting Permanence or a Chalice or something. And then against the Phantom Knight deck, you can obviously use it to blow away Scythe when they activate DPE, or you can just use it on a Fog Blade if they didn't get that far. So I do genuinely think that Cosmic is just like a really cool meta card at the minute.
I think just for the Scythe, it's like such a good application.
Yeah, I think if you're not mining it, you should definitely be siding it.
Well, as we said, 62% of the top 32 were playing Cosmic, and all of them were in the side. There was also, as I was doing the stats as well, there was a few smatterings of Twin Twister as well. I think 2 or 3 people, not enough really to talk about. But what's your opinion on the Twin Twister versus Cosmic? I mean, it's definitely Cosmic, isn't it?
Well, I main 3 Cosmics and I side 2 Twins. And so like the only reason that the only matchup where the Twins go in is against stuff like Invoked, where they might have Schism and Tikaboo. But I think generally if you are taking like Scythe seriously in the format, Cosmic is just completely just way better than it. Like
something I noticed as well is Feather Duster is not popular at all.
No, so for the region that we played the weekend, I was playing just Lightning Storm and then obviously Evenly as well. And I think it should have definitely probably been Twin or Cosmic.
Did you ever get burned on like a standby Aptis?
No, to be fair, it was the Evenly that put in work, but it was like I was siding Lightning Storm a lot, but it was like against like stuff like Schism, and it just doesn't really matter.
Evenly seems a bit underrated at the minute. Like I don't think it's one of the top 5 best cards, but when I was doing the breakdown for the YCS, there wasn't as many Evenlys inside as I thought there would be, and the card's really good.
I think there's a big correlation. So like just as a spoiler, 31% of the top 32 of this YCS played Fusion Destiny in their decks, and so obviously when you
that's 31% of the entire tournament. Played DPE.
That's incredible. Yeah. But then, like, if you that better yet, if you take 31% of the entire like the whole player base, Evenly is really weird when it trades with boards with DP on it because
they just keep DPE.
Yeah, they DP pop 2 of their own things, and then their DP comes back, and they've kept another interruption. So it's sort of like Yeah, you could potentially gain tempo, but the rest of your hand needs to be amazing for you to be able to take advantage of that turn.
I think I don't even side it in for like when they announce say Macabre DPE, like it just any deck like that I don't.
They can often just let the evenly fly.
It's mainly just against stuff like if Striker's a little bit more popular now. Obviously the Eldritch variants are quite popular. I think sometimes I don't know, maybe against Sword Soul, because
I think it's pretty good against Sword Soul, especially because from this event as well, it has been confirmed that 10-year Sword Soul is the better version. That deck can very rarely make an Omni Negate in Baron, so they always end on just basically Monster Negate, so evenly will generally pour the board apart.
That is an important point you've touched on as well. Out of the 28% of the top 32 who are playing Sword Soul, there are no DPE Sword Souls. And if you look at it as well on the stats, 37% of the top cut spoilers played the Fusion Destiny, but none of them were in Sword Soul. So that tells you all you need to know, really. The regional we went to at the weekend, Jake played just no Sword Soul, no Destiny and Sword Soul, and I played it. And it's good at a local level, but at the bigger scene, I really think it lets you down. The synergy isn't there, man. It really isn't.
So with the regional we went to yesterday as well, so the top 8 breakdown was 3 10-year Sword Soul, no one played DPE. There were 3 Dogma Invoked, and there was 1 Droitron.
The winner played DPE though.
Yeah, all 3 of the Invoked decks played DPE. You played DPE, so 50% of the top 8 of that regional played DPE.
Yeah.
I think all the decks that I actually struggled against played DPE.
Well, that tells you everything you need to know in there.
It's insane, man.
So half of it played DPE. Then of the 4 remaining decks, 3 were Sword Soul, didn't play it, and what was the other one? Adamantipator, and it didn't play it either, because you kind of like, it's not the best.
There's like over 900 people at the YCS, that played.
700, nearly 800.
Oh, okay.
Nearly 800. But moving on from that, we go to
250 people that entered to play in DPE.
Yeah, something like that. It's amazing. Yeah, I don't think we've.
How many people entered with Dragoon when it was released?
Not many, but we're going to touch on that because that is the big statistic. But moving on, we've got Droplets and Chalice. We sort of group these together.
So you basically play one or the other, yeah. So like you can either play Droplets in your deck because you can afford the discards, and if you can't, you just play Chalice because it was
from the lists I've seen. It was mainly Droplets. Even in the Sword Soul lists, which surprised me because you don't really want to be playing Droplets in Sword Soul, not that I've found anyway.
But I suppose it is still a card that combats the bird board, and that is the next representative.
Yeah, because it is. I remember when you were first looking at this deck and stuff, and I was like, oh, you play Droplets, some of the 10-years do it, so it's not like awful.
No, it's okay.
My first iteration didn't play Chalice or Imperm, it just played 3 Droplet, 3 Dark Ruler.
I think Chalice is so good.
Yeah, I think Chalice is probably like my favourite tech card in this format.
It's like reactive, but like on a really good sort of
and like when
feel
you can, I think the easiest card to compare it to is like Impermanence. But I think when you go second, especially when you're dealing with DP boards, you don't want to just at the start of your turn imperm, because then they're just going to chain DP and they get to keep it. Whereas if you wait for them to activate DP and chalice it at any point in your turn, you're then free to like spin this DP away or banish it or whatever, and then it gets rid of the problem. Yeah.
We should say as well, just as an addendum, all of the stats that we've got have come from the Knights of Abyss or Knights of the Abyss Facebook page. It's a relatively small Yu-Gi-Oh Facebook page. I think they've got less than 5,000 followers. They're entirely in Spanish, but obviously all the lists they put up you can see. They cover every list, every event. They're brilliant. I really, really like them. I'll drop a link in the description for them as well, or one of us will. So do check them out. That's where all our stats have come from. But yeah, moving on to the next.
So the next card is Nibiru. So I think this is, like, to no surprise, just one of the most.
It's crept back into the meta, hasn't it?
Yeah. So like most people would just side in this card. Yes, some people were maining it.
Yeah. So out of the 65% of people who played Nib in the top 32, 76% sided it. So it's only a 24% main deck rate.
I think what's quite interesting about Nibiru is that, like, when you think about it, like, on paper, like, because so many decks are playing like DP and stuff, it seems bad because you're going to nib them, but then they're still likely going to pass on DP. But you've got to bear in mind of all the stuff that you catch before they're forced to just make that line of play. I think this card's amazing for stopping yourself getting Protossed. Usually when you get Protossed by the Sword Soul deck, they will have to lock themselves into Worms, so they can't ever Baron this out of your hand. I think like being able dropping it after Phantom Knights and stuff, some Dagda, means that you're not going to get scythed.
Yeah.
I do just think it is impactful. So then what was the next most? Well, this was This was the single most represented card in the top 32 of the YCS.
Makes perfect sense though.
I think like this card is actually
The
incredible.
statistics on it are staggering. So 84% of the top cut played this.
And
even when it's not like, you know, like when it's like a format of not normal summon, like you need to negate the normal summon in this format, yeah, like Sword Sword is probably like the best deck that you need to just, you know.
It's like last format with Try, isn't it?
The same with Alistair, I suppose. But it's like, even when it's not like that kind of format, when it's like not popular to use like a Veiler type card, like this is still like super popular anyway, isn't it?
Do you know what it is with it as well? It doesn't trigger talents, man. And
doesn't trigger talent. Amazing 6th card.
Same as Chalice, amazing.
Not bad going first.
Not bad going first. Something you got to consider as well is that the most represented deck is Sword Soul. They can make Chao Feng, which turns Veiler off. It doesn't turn this one off because this isn't a monster.
Lyra will have Oath Engrave as well. So if you run in droplets, you run Imperm as well, because if you open the Imperm with the droplets, you just hold it and they're not oathing your stuff.
This is also really good against the Tri Brigade combos in general as well, because typically what happens is they'll make F0, the Draco F0, and then they'll normal summon something, and then their normal summon is going to be a Tri Brigade that tries to extend them. You can actually Imperm there because F0 can't negate this because it only negates monsters. That can potentially end their turn. Like it is that good. Obviously it's good against Protoss. You can draw this as a 6th card and hit like Scythe with it. Just very good. And then like our favourite, which is DPE.
The recently OCG banned.
These cards are fucking cool. Like, I haven't actually played with these cards yet in real life, but you two have. I know Liam loves it.
DPE is just something else, man.
So as we said earlier, 31% of the entire tournament played it. However, 37% of the top cut actually played it. So it's quite rare that you'll see more top than play.
Especially for like a non-main deck. Like it's almost like an engine in it, I suppose.
It's
like
an engine. You have to commit to it.
Non-main deck engine.
I think the closest thing I compare it to, I don't compare it to Dragoon because Dragoon wasn't successful. I see this as Brilliant Fusion.
That's a good comparison. That's a very good comparison actually. But it's what is it? It's 5 in the main and then 2 at least in the extra deck. Yeah. So it's a fairly it's a big chunk.
But I just think so
good, man.
I was trying to explain this card to an ex-player, so I was explaining this to Lily the other week.
Oh right, okay.
And I was basically saying that this card, so he remembers Cyframe Lord Omega, and I said, imagine Omega, but instead of taking a card out of the hand, you non-target destroy a card on the field. And then I said, imagine if just by summoning this card, you get to draw 2 cards for free next turn as well. And then I sort of got to a point where I started like questioning, well, why am I not just playing this card? Because I described it to myself as the best card in the game.
Yeah, it is very crazy. Cat's going crazy on the floor, sorry. Not rescue cats. But, so yeah, some really interesting stats. Something I noticed as well is, I was intrigued to see the cross-out talents ratio. 19% of top cut were playing talents in the main, and 6% were playing cross-out, further reaffirming that card is a flop.
I do want to say that the talents stat is much higher than I thought it would have been for the top cut.
Really? I feel like it's low.
Because I feel like at the minute, like a lot of people, like Imperm is like the most played hand trap. How many deck lists did you see with Ash in these decks?
Ash wasn't very common.
That's what I mean. Like I think Ash and Veiler, for me to want to play something like Talents, I think Ash and Veiler need to be popular.
You know when like you're playing against like Scythe decks, yeah, like which is going to be like the majority of the decks. It's like they're Scythe, yeah. It's like I feel like Talents is like, I don't know, man. Like it's a card that's almost always going to be switched on, man. Because if they're playing something that like is going to Scythe you, whether it's in the standby or not, it's like they tend to have like backup field negates, yeah, and not spell and trap negates, and not like hand traps. So a lot of times, if you can bait something and then either draw or take something, it's like it feels like it'll be live a lot.
It plays into the, I mean, with the exception of Dry Trunks, they negate everything. It plays into the sort of slight weakness in the meta where there isn't much spell trap negate. It's very monster negate.
It's not even that. Like I think you can even like just save it against Drytron because they don't have like complete like omni negates in the hand anymore.
Not
like,
with the one over, yeah.
Yeah, like it is limited.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the top 4 decks from this event, so it was Sword Soul, Lyrilusk, and then there was actually just like what do you, in your opinion, what are the top 4 best decks
in the meta at the minute?
For me, like yeah, Sword Soul, Lyrilusk. For me, probably. I don't know. You could fit, like, for me, Drytron, PK, like the combo.
I don't think PK is one of the best.
I think Invoked Dogma is.
I think.
But again, though, I think I'm changing my mind. I don't think it's Phantom Knights anymore. I think it's Drytron.
I said that. Well, to be honest, I don't think it's Sword Soul, Lyrilusk, Invoked, and B Trooper. Come on. No, it's not B Trooper. It's got to be invoked in it, and
Unfortunately,
Drytron.
probably is invoked, yeah.
It's interesting how Drytron's crept back into the meta. Like, it couldn't catch a break in previous metas.
I think one of the big like benefits of invoked, especially now where you got DP as well, is that deck is really easy to play. Like it doesn't take, it's not
Smooth
it's not
braining.
mentally draining. If you're going to go for a long tournament,
It just makes perfect
It's a
sense
very
to
nice deck pick, and like
Winder's just.
yeah, it's quite hard to misplay. You just put Winder on the field and you win the game, right?
I'm really looking forward to the new branded stuff coming out in April, I think. And I'm hoping, I'm looking forward to playing it, but I'm hoping to God that branded fusion is the card that gets Winder banned, because it has to be. Surely to God. Decks are playing Vert and ending on Winder.
Like
What?
8 years ago, whenever it was when Construct got banned, I said no, this should have been Winder.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
always how
yeah,
it should
yeah.
have been.
Yeah, Constructs is just not. They always let them resolve Construct.
Yeah.
It's just unreal, man. That card, and I think as well, if you take Winder out of the invoked dogma lists, I don't think you see 12.5% of the top
definitely
card.
not.
It's how they beat you because they floodgate you, and you just
Yeah.
can't. Yeah.
Like, Winder's
Just ban schism, man.
What's your general opinions of the format?
I love
Love
it.
it, love it.
We absolutely love it. It's
There's one or two like actual problem cards, isn't there? Like you can't keep getting Imperial ordered and Scythed sometimes the same bloody time.
I,
But
I think it's really weird because like Sword Soul has got Protoss, Lyrilusk has got its board is just unreal. Invokes have got Winder, Drytron and Phantom Knights have got Scythe. Like it's really weird that like all of the good decks have got these amazing floodgates, but how many of them actually like resolve all the time?
Yeah, it's odd, man. It's an interesting format. It's nice. I was like, for years, I played for like what 6 years before my break, and then in the near 2 years or just over 2 years that I've been playing since I come back, this is the best format I've played in.
yeah, I love it, man.
It's amazing.
I really love any format where you don't know which deck to play because you like more than one.
Yeah.
True.
Spoiled for choice.
Yeah, so
So that's going to wrap up the video, guys. Any cards you think we missed, let us know in the comments as ever. And if you want to buy any of these amazing cards, TCG Access as ever, link in the description, alongside Knights of the Abyss. Do check them out, they are great.
Yeah, don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and we'll definitely see you for the next one.
Thank you very much.